It being 6:05, I'll call to order the meeting of the Carver Redevelopment Authority for March, quick, somebody, 8th. I'm Sharon Clark, I'm the chairman, and we will begin with the North Carver project discussion and update. We had the working group this morning, and basically what the working group has come down to is that everything is either in the hands of the lawyers and waiting for the articles for town meeting to be vetted. The community mitigation agreement through the chiefs, fire and safety, police is in the hands of the lawyers to be vetted, and they hope to have that done and signed in the next week or so.
I think by the end of this week.
They talked about like maybe by the end of this week.
Yeah.
And that's a critical part. When last we met, our public hearing was set for March 2nd, and it is now set for March 30th. And that will be the joint meeting between the Carver Redevelopment Authority and the Planning Board for the public hearing on the zoning amendments that we have proposed along with the Planning Board in relation to the North Carver Business Park. Savory, did you get anything else out of that meeting?
It was discussed that when we do meet with the planning board on one of the amendments of the for the accessory structure, that we would include the height on the water tower. Other than that, I think that the KP Law had thought it was probably better to make the mitigation agreement more of an agreement, a signed agreement, as opposed to a handshake deal.
Right.
And memorialize it and call it something else. I don't remember exactly offhand what it was, but make it more rock solid. Other than that, Elaine Weston was going to work on the order of the amendments to make sure that all of the amendments that were in relation to the North Carver project were in consecutive order. I think there were two that were coming after a brief interval of other amendments. So in order to be cohesive and to retain the people voting.
Is that all 7 of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Five have been approved by the select board to go onto the warrant. Two are there were some questions on 2 of them which are going to be discussed this Thursday morning at the select board meeting, and I will be going there to answer any questions they may have, and I expect that those 2 will be added to the warrant as well Tuesday morning. That's all I have.
Yep. I think the working group, while we met, we've been meeting for 8 or 10 months now. I think that was a really big, important part of the project in that it kept everybody on the same page. We got to check back with each other. We didn't have constant, say, email threads going between the different chiefs and the RDA and the North Carver Water District and through Rick LaFond and then back to Bob Fennessy and now with Mr. Bott on board. And Jim Walsh for a time being. It got to be a little cumbersome, but the working group meeting every other week, and Pat participated in most of them, as with Savory, who was there for, I believe, all of them. That just kept things, once it was formed, it kept things very smooth. And I do appreciate all the time that everybody put into that. For the public hearing on, when it was moved from March 2nd to March 30th, the RDA felt that we should be available in the public a little bit to answer questions ahead and get some feedback ahead of the one public hearing. So to that end, we have established some dates to do public hearing, kind of open houses, and just present our information, hear some concerns, The first one will be this Thursday at the library from 10 to 12 a.m. We're fashioning these more as an open house, kind of a kiosk with information available. Savory and I will be there. Stephen Cole, our consultant, will also be there. This video probably will not be published by that time, but I will give the dates of the other ones. Again, at the library, Tuesday, March 15th, from 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, March 23rd, at the library, again, from 1 to 4. And what we're trying to do is do a morning, an evening, and an afternoon to make ourselves available for people who can't make night evenings, people who can't make morning evenings. We try to make ourselves available, per Savory's suggestion, at least one day for part of the day, part of the evening at a central location. We also have a meeting in front of South Meadow Village next Wednesday on the 16th, but that'll be a closed meeting just for their residents. I've been invited to give them the information as well. I've reached out to Cranberry Village. I've not heard anything back from them yet. Anything else?
Yes, I went
you
to the
had one.
Council on Aging today.
That's right.
And we're going to have a meeting or an outreach at the Council on Aging on
What day was it?
the 29th,
Yes, Tuesday the 29th.
Tuesday the 29th at 12:15. So we'll be right at the tail end of their lunch hour.
What if I have lunch there? Am I going to be?
Come early.
Come on, no, because I'm a member of RDA and I'm eating lunch, you're going to be talking during that lunchtime. Oh, no, it's all done.
No, it's after, isn't it?
Well, we're going to be there at 12:15.
Yeah.
Lunch is 11:30.
I don't want to, if I don't want to expose myself, I'm going to say, oh, this is an issue. I won't go, I'm not going to.
Meals on the go.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, let us know if you're going to be there,
Yeah,
because
right.
one more person or two more people makes a quorum.
Oh, absolutely.
So we have to know if you're
Yeah.
having lunch that day.
Okay.
Okay? But that's another one at the
I'll shy-
COA, that's right,
shy
that Savory
away.
had picked up. And those will be what we're planning on those being, and they will be advertised. We're advertising through Facebook pages as best we can, and through Area 58, through the bulletin boards. And those will be just drop-in. We'll have information there. We'll have, placards there. We should have our website up and running so people can view it on a laptop. And simply to ask questions and give us feedback.
Can I ask you what kind of information you're handing out?
We're handing out, we're not doing a lot of handouts because
No.
it could get really cumbersome. What we're doing is we're going to be handing out a list of the questions that are on the website.
Okay.
Just the questions, not the answers, as a conversation starter.
Okay.
There's also a flyer that's been produced by Consensus, which just gives a general overview of the project.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's something to get
Yep.
people to
Yep.
think about questions they may have.
Right.
And we're going to have, around the room in the library, we're going to have a couple of posters. One of them is going to be the overhead view of where the property is located
Mm-hmm.
and the outline of the development's property.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have the site plan that showed the buildings.
Oh, good.
And we're also going to have one of the renderings that shows the building from the entrance ramp to Route 44 West, which is
Oh.
about the only place
You're gonna see
that
it.
you can see it, so that people have an idea of what it's going to look like.
Good.
But we didn't want to go any more than that, thinking that we could overload people, and once you go one step further, what's to prevent you from keep going.
I think that's great, because if you look at a question, the first thing I would say to them, is there a question here you'd like to get answered? That's how I would do it.
Right, well, the
And I
answers
think
are on the
that's
website,
how-
and we can direct them to that, but we're certainly there to answer their questions. But what we're probably hoping to do is to have the questions that are already printed lead to more questions that aren't on the list, because the more questions that we can add to the website
Okay.
and answers, the less we'll have to explain it.
And if I could just, if you don't mind.
Good.
Okay. Stephen Cole knows, he has a relative that lives in my area. There's 72 homes. There's a page called Wenham Shores Neighborhood. And I'm on it. I don't sponsor it, I just on it. And the lady, her name is Cunha, C-U-N-H-A. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, yeah, that's Maggie Kate.
That's what?
Maggie Kate?
Okay, that's new to me. But anyway, she wrote, you better pay attention to this project, because if you don't, it's gonna cost you, the taxpayer, more money. And what I did is I said, absolutely, and I wrote back, well, at first I had the 3-2 dates, and I had to go back and correct that. But that's 31 views already, which was 3 weeks ago. That someone in my neighborhood, who's with 72 homes, have been looking at it. So I'm hoping other homes, taxpayers, not South Meadow Village and not Cranberry Village, but taxpayers. Forest Street, Vaughn Estates, right?
This is a Facebook page?
Yeah.
Would you like me to send you the announcement about the 3 meetings in the library so you can post it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
You do that.
right.
I'm on. I love seeing you. It's been such a long time.
Well, and those are the kind of things that we want to address, obviously. And we're hoping that people who come to the public hearings will have the opportunity to ask us.
Yeah.
And could tell us how it's going to cost us more money, and we can either respond or
Right.
redirect them.
So they got the word.
Do you know this person? We'll talk
No,
later.
but after Stephen's gonna tell me who that person, where they live, and I'm gonna find out, and I'm gonna go visit them.
Okay.
Well, one thing that Mr. Cole had once suggested is that even small neighborhood groups such as
The one I know.
hosting a neighborhood in, small.
Well, funny you should mention, I wrote a personal email to Tom Mannix. You remember the conservation restriction that Joanna is still working on?
It's only been a year, come on.
I wrote him the letter and I said, please share this with all the people that you have. He's got 35, 40 names. And my neighbor said, I haven't got that email yet, so I'll have to get in touch with him. And I said openly on that email who I am, who I represent, one of the members. Please send me an email, put on the title, North Carver Project, so I'll know, because I get too many emails and I would delete it, and I'll actually respond.
Okay.
So I'm very open about it, and I'm after them. Guess what? You want me to go after somebody else? There are huge, Forest Street, Vaughn Estates.
You reminded me of Vaughn Estates, and I will look at that one.
That's your baby.
I don't, yes, I will do that. I will definitely do that.
Well, who do we know lives on Forest Street? You have to, how about Mary Ross? Is she?
I don't know. I mean,
Oh, well, so I'll try to
I'm not
find a
sure.
candidate. That's huge. That's another huge area.
but those are all good suggestions of trying to get the information out, or at least invite them to come to one of the public
And town
open
meeting.
and town meeting. But public, the open houses that we're trying to get some of this information out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've said on a couple of Facebook pages, we've had 2 to sometimes 3 meetings a month for a year. All our minutes are up to date and posted, thanks to Sue Hannon.
And I want to congratulate, don't leave us. Those minutes are fantastic. All those numbers that Mr. Savory told us, they're in here. I just have to look at it and verbally talk to somebody, but thank you very much.
But all our minutes are posted and up to date. We have videos in a stockpile of them in Area 58. So all the information has been there for a year, and you're certainly available to it. But then these short meetings, these public hearings, these open houses, we're here to answer questions and plus get some feedback of concerns. And this is because our public hearing, where we might normally have heard this kind of thing, isn't until roughly 10 days before town meeting. So we'd like to have that. Is there anything else on this?
Just that the public hearing with the planning board, the joint meeting with the planning board and
Right.
the RDA is going to be in the cafeteria
Oh, right.
at the school, not in the auditorium.
Change that.
So just.
That's right.
so-
And that's Wednesday, March 30th at 7 o'clock in the cafeteria, and then they have a holdover date for the next day on the 31st. The next thing I had on the agenda was,
If I may.
yep, Mr. Butt?
I just wanted to touch base, I had Tom Bott on the interim town planner here in Carver. You're supposed to introduce yourself at these meetings. So I had conversation with the folks at Hillwood last week, and we shared some emails. And one of the things that they had talked about were the informational summaries that are in the warrant current placeholders, and about sort of refining those and sort of condensing them a bit. So they gave me some of that information. I actually put it together in a document I'm happy to share with you guys, to leave with you, and we can talk about it at your next meeting, about what the current informational summaries that were submitted for the warrant are, and what these retooled ones are, to look at what you might want to do about editing those informational summaries.
And that would have to be done at town meeting, correct?
No.
No?
So the warrant articles, in the warrant, there is the article, and then there underneath it is the summary. And that summary is just an informational piece that
Okay.
goes on the warrant. And we have to get that information that we want in the warrant language to the select, the town administrator's office, assistant town administrator who's doing this thing, before the end of the month.
Okay, but that can be changed, that's
Correct.
not big.
So I talked to Elaine today to make sure I was clear on what the date was. She told me what the date was, but I'm telling you it's the end of the month because I'm not going to tell you what the real date is, because I know me, if I know there's a real date, I'm going to take too much time and bump up against the real date.
No, the real date is the end of the month.
Correct.
Okay.
So, but I'm assuming you're going to meet again in a
Yeah.
couple weeks?
Yeah,
like
2 weeks.
22nd?
Yep,
So if it's okay with you, I can leave. It basically sort of informal, it says my notes. I'd
Okay.
be happy to shoot you email copies of it as well. But it basically has the old summary and the new summary, and you take a look at them together and decide what you want to do as far as person goes down. And some of them go on for quite a while. So cutting them down, we may save a tree or two in
Right.
the warrant, and maybe cutting a page off the warrant with the amount of information that's in some of those things.
Okay.
okay. And you're working with the Hillwood's attorney on these? or
Yeah, I
John?
On, I think it was Friday, maybe it was Thursday last week, with Matt Gutsy and John Smollett.
Yeah.
Okay,
The call we were on.
okay.
So we'll talk about things and just get up to speed on things. Because I'm trying to get up to speed on this as well.
Okay,
Because you've been at this
That's
for a
fine.
while.
yes.
I've been looking at stuff in the files in the office, and I'm like, wow, this is a very long project.
It is a long.
2008-ish, I'm seeing, something like that.
Yeah,
So God bless you for being at it. Very impressive.
it's not as long as 90 Forest Street.
And we're not there yet.
I have a
okay?
tick. Can I
Thank you.
add to that?
Yeah.
Okay. You made mention, I cut this out of the paper, I'm an avid reader of the Carver Report, there's not always a lot in it, but I read it. But public safety pledge, 6.8 million, is that the MOU you were talking about?
That's the mitigation
The
agreement.
mitigation agreement, is that the one you were talking about? And that's already been, it's under development or going to be
It's-
looked at by the lawyers?
At the previous select board meeting, Chief Weston read a portion of his. It's been negotiated between Carver Police, Carver Fire,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the emergency services.
And of course, Hillwood's in total agreement to that. And you also mentioned that Chief
Dufley.
Dufley had said that, Mark Townsend said that the select board may need to have a special meeting to put this on the warrant. The police chief wanted one thing fixed in the agreement. The agreement would be voided if the zoning bylaw amendments were not passed. True?
That's a while ago, I believe.
Hillwood's agreed to that. Hillwood
Yeah.
agreed to that.
Yes.
So all for naught if the articles don't pass. That's what my assuming at, right?
I thought it was the other way around. Can you?
Yeah.
I think it's the other way around.
It's the other way
Other way
around, that the agreement, if Hillwood stays with this project and is forced to build something smaller because the zoning bylaws don't change, that they will honor the agreement.
Yeah.
They will honor the 6.1 million.
They'll honor the agreement.
Okay.
Yes.
It wasn't quite defined, and I thought that was like for naught. He would walk away.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Bott.
it's my understanding that a pre-development agreement would be agreed to and voted on by the selectmen prior to town meeting.
Yes.
Right.
So that agreement would be in place for that mitigation irregardless of how the zoning changes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
So my last question, it sounds like Hillwood is staying. I thought he was leaving. I just figured he's just gonna pack up and go if it wasn't gonna be this way. That's
Well, I
not
don't,
true.
Well,
I mean, I don't think we can, I don't think that that's anything, we certainly don't know.
We don't,
That's totally up to them, and
No, but you just said that he would honor, if it was something smaller than that, he would still.
but they still have to agree to build something there.
yes.
Oh,
they
I
still have to-
understand.
So,
they
I
have
mean,
to,
that-
you know, they have to say that they're going to continue
I'm just
the
looking at the
project.
the good amount of money that has been
It's very generous.
willfully generous, and for the reason, and if I can just keep going, just this last sentence here. The Fire Chief Weston, he said that public safety chiefs have expressed significant concerns about the increased demands on the town's resources, not just for the development, but for the town as a whole during meetings with Hillwood over the past few months, considering the project size and locations. So,
If I can just sum up that, because we've been watching the chief negotiate this since April, they started?
At least.
Yeah, and what it came down to is that if they built what's even allowed by right, or something in excess of the 60-foot, 65-foot building height, we didn't have the fire equipment to fight a fire there.
True.
And then watching Chief Weston work his way through was just an enormous learning experience for me, because he even placed out, you know, if there's fire breaks between trucks, or if they have this here. And I can't even tell you how much respect I have for that man looking out for Carver. And it was not only that, but if some incident happened there, what about, you know, a house fire at the same time? And this was all part of their negotiations. It was, if we have something of this size and population with the workers going on, you know, maybe 24/7 in North Carver, we still have a town of 12,000 people that need to be protected of equal services.
Correct.
And with the police chief, it came down to, you know, staff, because we only have X number of police officers working at night. And, you know, at one point, Chief Dufely mentioned, you know, taking care of what if there's an active shooter in a building that has 600 people. That is something that I never even thought of. And yet my grandchildren do active shooter drills in elementary school. So that's just a portion of the agreement.
well, I'm just grasping on it. I
When they
know
get-
how I read it. I'm hoping the townspeople will get the reporter like I do.
When it's finally memorialized and signed, I think all the details will be made public then. I mean, there's pages that we've seen that have kind of minutia in there that I wouldn't even have thought of. And these are all requirements that Hillwood has agreed to. And this is, it appears that it's to protect the Hillwood project, but it's not. It's to protect the rest of Carver at the same time.
Right.
I just have to echo what Sharon said, watching not only Chief Weston, but Chief Dufely and Chief Bryan and Tom Walsh from Emergency Services. Watching them all go through the process was, we're very lucky to have all of them here. We
Tremendous.
truly are. They are the tops in their field, and just watching them work and watching them think of all the things that we never would have was eye-opening.
You know, one example was the an enhanced interior 911, so that not only would they know where a 911 call came in, they would know what floor, what office, they would know exactly where to go in a building this size.
I know.
And that's,
It's amazing.
it's
a huge
their
project.
dedication to protecting people who come to Carver or people who live in Carver was outstanding.
Right.
Made me tremendously proud to be here.
Right. That's some of the things when I talk to people who's asked me a lot of these kinds of questions, to really, you know, let them know that these men are hard at work,
Yeah.
why they're working, and of course the $6.8 million is a lot of money, but that's what it's going to cost. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
And so I have to ask those questions. I'm
Okay.
sure I'll ask more questions, but
Okay, well, you guys are awfully quiet tonight.
So I'm just going to give you these. I've got a-
Okay.
I've got another
Okay,
game
great.
tonight.
Thank you.
There's one for each of you. The stuff in blue is the new stuff that's bolded,
Okay,
and the gray stuff is the original.
Does she got one?
can you, yes, I was going to say, can you give one to Stephen?
Everybody has one before I take this.
Got it?
Like I said, I'll be happy to send you an email of the whole Word document.
Okay, thank you.
Easy to plug into.
Thank you very much, appreciate that.
So we're going to talk about this at the public meeting? There's going to be this,
We're
this?
going
We're going to talk about this by ourselves
to, at our
at our next meeting.
Yeah, but by the time you get to the public meeting,
This will be in there.
This will
This
already
will be in there in the town warrant.
all right.
Yeah,
So the 22nd is projected next meeting?
Yes.
no,
No?
I have a zoning board meeting that night. Unless we can be done by 7.
Ho, ho.
I think we can.
Okay,
I think we should do that.
okay. All right, we'll book it in for, if not, I will leave and go away.
We'll be done with the big stuff by 7. We'll probably
Yeah, we'll
talk
be done.
about 90 Forest Street
Joanna,
after 7.
if Joanna stays quiet, it's not true.
The other thing I thought we might do tonight was a discussion of the individual zoning amendments, but I've tabled that for right now because 2 of them haven't been approved yet, and I'd rather wait till they've all been vetted and moved on to the warrant. So we will discuss those next time in detail. Is that okay?
Which two?
The earth removal
And the wastewater treatment facility.
wastewater treatment. And the select board had asked for one of us to appear before them Thursday morning at 9:30. Savory's agreed to go, and I'll be setting up over at the library.
Where does the wastewater treatment come under?
They would need a wastewater treatment.
No, but who in this town now would be responsible for that?
I would think Board of Health.
Board of Health?
I would think so.
Tom?
Based on the size of it, could be DEP.
Oh, okay.
10,000 gallons a day groundwater discharge permit, likely DEP approved.
The
Okay.
DEP, not the Board of Health, but the DEP?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's state.
State.
I don't know the size of it, but given what we're talking about, it's likely a DEP wastewater treatment.
Okay.
So that's quote unquote state, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing on this was the dates and locations for the public outreach, which I've already given. The only other thing I'll add, and I've asked Area 58 to scroll this under our video, is to give out the website, which has the information and the FAQs of the project, and it is www.carverrda, one word, .info. So it's www.carverrda.info, and hopefully it's scrolling underneath here somewhere. But that is a beautiful website, beautifully done, answers a lot of questions.
I like it, I like it. I can't wait for another project.
Oh, please.
I thought I'd get her.
Oh, my gosh. Paul Kelly, who's here, also worked very, very hard on it.
Right, Paul
and
Kelly
Continues to.
continues to,
continues
because,
to.
and we add content when we have it available, but there's video, there's pictures, there's, it gives you a really, really good deep dive into the project, and the FAQs are very well done with answers, and there's also a place to ask your own question. So please,
And I
look
like
at that.
You did a great job. I'm impressed with you.
Yes. Is there anything else? Stephen, do you have anything to add?
Nope. Did a great job, Madam Chair, as always.
Please. Having a bad
I
day.
think for our next agenda that we should put on the agenda, kind of finalizing what we're going to present at town meeting. Of what our order is, and because I know
Okay.
that you're going to do most of the speaking, but I think we should figure out what we want to do as far as visuals are concerned, because we have to get them into the
Moderator?
power. Well, yes, one of my jobs is to talk to the moderator.
Right.
But we also have to get them to the person who's going to do the PowerPoint presentation so that they're in the right place and available to get up there. So we should kind of narrow that focus down as to how we're going to present at town meeting.
Are you restricted by time, town meeting? Oh, you haven't asked yet?
No.
No. It's town meeting.
It's a town meeting.
We're already booked for the Thursday.
Well, people complain, 11 o'clock, they want to go home.
Well, we have a second possibility date for
Town meeting?
town meeting.
Oh,
They've already
good.
booked the Thursday.
Our amendments are going near the top. I
Yeah.
think they're either the first ones after the budget question, the regular town ones, or second. They might
Yeah.
be after the Cranberry Village
I don't
question.
know where that was put.
I think that's going to, I think there's been a request to put that up
Yeah.
higher, just
Okay.
because it would be done earlier.
Okay.
So anyway, we're close to the front,
Oh, good.
the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, great.
All right, everybody's favorite, an update on Forest Street. I've contacted Morse Engineering.
I'll be upstairs.
Thanks.
See you guys later.
I've contacted Morse Engineering a couple of times. I've not heard back from them. I was trying to get the digital file for the plan for Dan.
I got
perspective.
them.
The
They sent it to me.
The digital file?
Oh, no.
No.
No, I'll be going.
We had the plans.
The huge,
No.
and they sent them to me, but there's also the big one, the conceptual as well as the other one. And I'm just gonna, tomorrow, if I'm not babysitting, I'm gonna go into your permitting department and give them to Jill and put them in that folder, the new folder, the folder with the variance regulations, there's two
Okay.
folders. I'm gonna
Yep.
put them in there.
Okay, I know he had them.
I gave him
Right.
a copy, whatever.
He had asked engineering, he'd asked for the digital files.
Oh.
And I called them twice and left messages, giving them
Well, you know what?
15-365. I even know the job
She
number.
asked me a question about that, and I raised it with Jill, and she said, no, we don't have that kind of machine, we can't print any of that. Is it
No,
big? I don't know.
I just wanted the digital file.
I realize, but I don't know. She had asked me something about digital, and I had
Who?
said, the Morse, the
Oh.
lady that I spoke with, you want me
You
to
got
call?
through?
Sure. I told you, I got the evidence.
They
I got
take
the-
her calls and not mine?
Yeah, I got the evidence, I've got those plans.
Powerful woman.
I'll call.
When'd you do that?
You just let me
We're
call.
looking for the CAD
Yeah,
file.
right. Tell me what it is.
I don't know, it's digital, that's all I know.
Computer assisted design.
There you go.
Yes.
Excuse me?
Computer-assisted design.
CAD, it's a CAD.
Oh. Okay.
CAD file.
Yeah.
I was giving it the right name, but
Look at me, think CAD. Got it.
But other than that, I haven't heard anything from Kathleen. I'm assuming he's just going through his due diligence.
I talked to him already, but he's working on it,
Yeah.
and he's working on the site engineer plan, I believe it is. He's
Yeah.
waiting on for some drainage and something else, okay? He did tell me that he had spoken with Tom, and Tom extended for him to come in prior to sending in the application to go over it, because there could be some tweaking. And I applaud you for that. I said, whatever he says, you do. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. How's that?
Everything rolling that easy.
Yeah, so he said he's rolling, he feels he's rolling along.
Yeah, I saw
I don't know.
the conceptual, it's just one building, it's not two, so.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
It looked pretty
Yeah.
simple to me.
Yeah.
Here's hoping.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so. And then we should as it starts to move to fruition, we should get in touch with the assessor or Sue or Bob to find out the breakdown of the expenses at once, or will Kathy do that?
Oh, you mean for us?
Yeah.
For the next step being the MOU you're talking about?
Right.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
breakdown of
yeah.
the funds.
Yeah, I have to go get them.
Yeah.
I might have to go in, look at the checkbook. Is the checkbook kept in the permitting department?
Well, you have all the bills for 94th Street.
I usually go through the checkbook. If the stub is written up, I get it.
It's in there.
It is? It's there,
And
fine,
then
no
Jill's got a
problem.
copy of everything, of all the checks that have been written to.
Yeah, and the stub would
The
tell me.
invoices.
Dating back how many years?
Um,
How many?
Quite a bit. 2015, at least
We
7
had-
or 8 years.
the plan was drawn before I came on the board 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that particular one, we
So-
did that. That's all, those checks that were written, as Pat said, those stubs usually have the details.
Like the little check register thing?
Yeah, of course, you don't need much, just the number. I'll give it to you.
No, we just need a total, and
No.
then itemized, I guess. All right, the treasurer's update, Pat sent that around today, was it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did.
I saw it.
So everybody got a treasurer's update through bank balances of, as of the end of February. Get $575.59 in the checking account with, I've got one check for Sue left to write. I just got today. In the money market account, we got $28,325.05. In the Hillwood account, it shows $3,311.56, but that's one $2,400 check to Paul Kelly that was written after, it was written in March, which Paul probably cashed it by now, maybe? Okay, good. So that's under $1,000 left in the Hillwood account, which I've put in for a reimbursement. Mac acknowledged it, and I have not heard any question, nor am I aware that a reimbursement check showed up here. It's for over $19,000. So,
Okay,
that should be forthcoming.
okay,
We're going to see Mac on Thursday.
yep,
Okay,
So-
but he did, in fact, he acknowledged it like within an hour.
right. And it said, like, I'll have somebody look at it or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, if we got any questions, we'll get back to you. And I gave him
Okay.
an option, you want to send us a check, I'll give you routing and account numbers if you want to do an electronic deposit. I have not heard back.
Okay,
And in the urban renewal plan, just gains all those little cents of interest, 2 cents, 25.64.72. And that's where we are.
Okay. I had a few before we approve it, it's good. I just spoke with Pat, he's gonna make a few changes that I had asked him
Oh,
to.
we're gonna do 2 decimal points.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of 2 decimal points, that's all.
okay.
We'll do it.
That can make a big difference.
It is, yes, it could, yeah.
You know, it doesn't batting average.
They're there, you just can't see them.
Okay, thank you. I don't think do we need a motion to accept that?
We should make a motion to accept Pat's report with the changes that I had
With the decimal
given
points?
to
Okay.
All right.
Pat.
So
So that's
mo-
the motion, I'll second it.
That is.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There you go. I actually have the minutes this time. Everybody got them.
Yeah.
We'll take them in 2 sets.
The first set,
The first set will be the
February 1st.
meeting minutes of February 1st.
Yeah, I have 2 changes.
Okay,
First of all, it was a Zoom meeting, and Alan Germain was on Zoom, and I don't see his name here. Alan Germain was on here.
Yeah, it should be listed on there, okay.
And then if I
probably
look,
when he spoke, I don't,
no, there's a whole big paragraph about him.
right, but up here, also in attendance, do you normally on the Zoom meetings list everybody? who's-
If it's somebody that's in a board or something,
Yeah.
I usually list it in the
Right, and
Okay.
he was part of this
Okay.
conversation.
Right.
Okay. Then if you look on page 3, it's just a spelling error, in the middle of this big thing here. Ms. Clark says, so the Finance Committee's position would be whether, and the word is W-E-H-T-H-E-R, it's spelled wrong, of course. Should be whether, W-H-E-T-H-E-R, so that's the change.
I think I said it wrong.
You said it that way? You spoke that way? Okay.
What's the subject matter for that paragraph that you're looking at?
It says discussion of meeting with Finance Committee.
Okay.
It's about 10 lines now.
Those are the changes I had.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes of February 1st with the changes noted by Joanna?
So, yep,
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. for the meeting minutes of February 17th. Is there a motion to accept them?
Oh, yeah, except for one thing.
Except for one thing.
Well, I read through it, obviously, and we talked about the 6.1 million agreement. I was just using it as reference. I had to look up sandpipe because, I don't know what sandpipe is. I know now. Thank you.
Standpipe?
Yeah,
Standpipe.
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 I think it said sandpipe. Okay, at the very end, Secretary, when I watched the video, Ms. Slayton said to Tracy, Kevin Tracy, at the very end, and I said to him, we need to instill confidence to our taxpayers. And I say to him that, I trust, Mr. Tracy, you will be a spokesman at town meeting. Mr. Tracy replies, I believe the town as a whole will benefit from this, not just the North Carver Water District. I want that in there. I want people to know that. Because I want him to come up to the town meeting and so forth. He did say that, because I went back to the video to see what he said.
He did say that.
Okay. I'm just gonna did you write it down on there that?
I did write it.
I'm just gonna take a screenshot before we go. I don't need to write this second, but.
You don't need it right this second, okay?
Is there a motion to accept the minutes with that change?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So the minutes of February 1st and 17th, the 1st and the 17th have been approved.
Okay.
I don't have any topics not reasonably
I do.
anticipate. Oh,
Guess
you're not
what?
the- You're
I
not the
do.
chair.
Excuse me? I w-
You have to tell me.
Oh, I'm
Here,
sorry.
tell me.
It just said, okay, I told you I was an avid reader of the Carver Reporter, and I read about MBTA Act. Have you known about that?
Yes.
And it states, and I saw the presentation that Tom Bott did, because it said it on here that he did it, so I watched it. And he made that presentation to the planning board, and on top of that, I'm saying to myself, do people really know about this? Because it's law, and what that means, that the first year you can get by signing an application and you just make some checks and so forth. But the next year, if you want to have any of these grants, like the
Mass Works. and
Mass
they've-
Works.
They've tied it into a lot of grants.
They do, and the community one-stop application, non-compliant MBTA communities will not be ineligible to receive funding. Oh, I should say would be ineligible to receive funding from the local capital project fund. And we have already a Mass Works grant, and I don't know how many more other towns, not towns, but people within the boards would be applying for different things. There's 3 or 4 different grants. I'm
Right.
not familiar with them all.
Right.
The question I have,
Okay.
or the point I want to make, it's so important for this North Carver project to become real. The benefits of the $6.8 million alone is going to set the stage. Do you know what 700 is? And here's the facts: 50 acres, 15 houses on 1 acre, 750 houses. And it has to be 50 acres. It can't be little pieces and parts. But the part that worries me is TDRs. We got to worry about that, because that could conceivably change a lot of things. And that's coming up at town meeting. But the more important thing, I want my town people to know that this project should be going, because it's going to set around $3 million in tax dollars a year, plus taxes from personal property, plus the things that the build-outs that you talked about. Okay? So that's what our people need to know. They need to know about this. Why is it? I don't think it's hidden. I think Mr. Bott did what he had to do. He's going to have another presentation May 7th for the select board. I watched the planning board thing. May 7th. Guess what? I'm going to be there, and I hope a lot more people are going to be there.
On the MBTA.
Yes.
That's right.
Presentation,
But
right.
I want to go there with proud to say, hey, our article's passed, we're gonna go, this is agreed. The people are thinking, okay, we're gonna have the right things in place. Because if we don't, can you imagine? It'll ruin the schools. Talk about fire department, talk about police, talk about EMT.
The law is just that we have to set aside 50 acres to do that. It doesn't say we have to build them.
But I listened to Mr. Bott's presentation. He said, oh, you could have the zoning law so you could get these various things. But someone's going to come along and can come along and have a good reason why they're going to do it. And you've got the law. And so now you've got the law, you got to do it.
Well, that's true, and I think that what the town has to look at, and this is really off topic, but
It is.
I really think it is, and I don't mean to dwell in it, but it's a really typical, very big, and it's going to happen. To this year, you sign an application, check, couple blocks, you're going to be free. But next year, you're not. 23, it starts.
I think this isn't us as the
Yeah,
RDA, but the town's going to have to take a look at it and weigh the options.
Right.
Is it going to cost more to do this than it will if we give up the grants? We don't have to do this.
No.
Don't write the law.
But we give up the grants if
We
we
give
don't
up
do
we
it.
give
That's
up the
right.
So
opportunity
there
to apply for
There
grants.
has to be.
There you go.
So there has to be an analysis done that debates, where are we going to find 50 acres and who's going to let us designate their spot? And then figure out, 750 houses, 15 on an acre. It's all a balancing act.
No, I don't think it's
And
houses. I
is-
think it's
Is it-
apartments.
It could be either. It could be anything.
They were talking about, density.
Not compliant, yeah, it could be anything. It could be housing.
Right. Well, it's primarily to build housing clusters near commuter rail stations.
Right.
So that there's less dependence on driving.
Right.
That's, and more affordable rental housing near public transportation.
Yeah.
I mean, we are included because we are adjacent to Kingston and adjacent to Middleborough, both of which have,
Plymouth also.
In Plymouth.
Stations.
Plymouth has too.
Has one.
do they still use that?
Yeah, not
Yeah.
much.
2 trains a day, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They were supposed to get more once they put the Riverwalk up.
One more thing
But they
is,
didn't get it.
one more thing to tell you, the law also eliminates the 2/3 majority vote for certain zoning changes related to housing production and make other changes to streamline permitting. It's only 50 plus 1 now, the vote.
Right.
So that's significant too. Well, anyway, that has to be known.
That, I would say that's more in line with some long-term planning, and that's to be done by, the planning board or certainly the select board or, a study committee.
You wanted another project, it's yours.
It's yours.
Yeah, well,
And
yeah, I guess it could be. Well, part of the master plan says that the people, or the board that's responsible for housing is the redevelopment. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I was on the master plan and I got a call from Serpent, and Serpent said, what happened to the local housing authority? And I said, well, it's for naught. And she said, well, we have to designate where this will go. And I said, well, it probably should fall into the realm of the redevelopment authority for what we are responsible for. And she said, okay. And if you look at the master plan, you're going to see it.
And if we can build up our coffers, then we can go right into that. But we need some money first.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you that
Yeah.
you just can't close your eyes on this.
Oh, no, you can't close your eyes on that.
No.
Right, but it's not necessarily affordable housing.
It's multifamily,
Multifamily.
It's density.
it's
It's
density.
density.
It could
It's
be
not
necess-
apartments, it could be a combination.
Yep.
Yes,
It's got to
but,
be 15, whatever.
right, but they're not going to get the same breaks that an affordable housing or a 40B
Right.
would get.
Yeah, right, no.
This is just cluster housing for density purposes.
Right.
And this,
And they could be expensive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was my point. Can you see I
Well,
want
thank
this
you.
project to go?
Yes.
So, So our next meeting is set for 2 weeks, the 22nd, at
Right.
6 o'clock, right?
Yes.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
In this room?
I think in this room, because I think I'm in zoning, I'm upstairs by 7 anyway.
Okay.
So, is there a motion to adjourn?
Before we go, our next meeting is the 22nd. Do we want to have a short meeting on the 29th as well, the day before
Oh, yeah.
planning, if we
29.
can? I'm just wondering, I'm not saying we should, I'm wondering if we might.
Oh, so we're at the COA at 12:15, right? Okay, I was
Yes.
going, wait, we already have something on the 22nd. Yeah, I think so.
Just to make sure we have everything ready to go.
Okay, at least maybe with Stephen too.
Yeah. And we
Okay.
can talk to him about
Definitely
that.
with him,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
So we should probably put a tentative,
so one for 329 as well.
right.
Okay, for the 29th, okay.
And to add even more to that, we should probably do one the following Tuesday as well, April 5th, because that's our last time before town meeting.
Okay.
So we should probably, skip a week, then meet 3 weeks in a
I
row.
have zoning then too, so
Okay.
we have to do
All
6
right.
o'clock again,
Is 6
What was
o'clock
the
going to
date
be
on
a problem for you?
the 5th. No, it's just, we have to be,
Done by 7?
well, I have to leave by 7, but Savory certainly more than
Oh,
capable.
Pass it to Saber.
Yep. All right, now is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.